Hello, everybody, and welcome to One Up Station After Dark. And I should mute the stream because I always do that. Station After. It's YouTube. YouTube yelled at me this time because for the first time ever, we're multi-streaming to both Twitch and YouTube, and that's super exciting. But hi, everybody. I'm researcher Ryan. I'll be your host for tonight here on the podcast. With me today, I have lovely Horse. And we have Sneaky Zombie.
Hello.
So I guess we could go around and start off with just a little like warm up, being like how everybody's week's been and whatnot. We'll start off with Jess, our guest.
Man, my week was good. Got a lot of work done. Actually felt pretty productive. And then have just gotten to like relax, hang out. Otherwise, got to talk to some friends last night from college that I haven't talked to in a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on the phone for like 4.5 hours.
That's awesome.
Those are the best.
It was a blast. So hopefully we'll do that more often, but we'll see.
Nice. And Sneaky, how's your week been? What you been up to?
It's been nice. It's been a really I made more money on Instacart this week, so I felt really good about that.
Nice.
It was just like, batting 100 on that, so that felt really good. And other than that, I feel like there's something that's noteworthy, but I can't think of it right now. But it was a good week.
Yeah, I think it was a good week. For me too, it was like pretty good. I've been streaming Pokemon. I streamed it on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I had my 12-hour birthday stream. So I'm officially 27 now. I'm over the hill or whatever. I've been that way for a couple of years now.
Yep. It's all downhill from there. No.
Yeah. And I could tell because the next day I woke up with so much exhaustion that I was out of commission for 2 days. There was no, like, all of my mental energy just like went and I couldn't do anything anymore after that. It was really bad.
12 hours is a lot.
It was. The thing is, like, in the moment of it, it felt like I could have gone longer. Like, the only problem there was that my window, I can't open my windows right now, and it was just so hot in this room because I have 3 lights on plus my overhead lights, and then plus like my computer's going, my PlayStation and Switch I never turned off, so they're both giving off heat as well, like during this whole thing, and it's just a mess. But other than that, it was really, really great. And then Tink brings up in the chat over on Twitch that I was doing the I put my GPU in my computer finally, so I have a GPU now, and so that's been super exciting. And it lets me do a lot of fun things like play a bunch of new games that I haven't been able to play, and do featured stuff like modded Minecraft, and do stuff like put shaders in Minecraft to make things look prettier, which is like just weirdly transitioning us into our topic for today, and that's crafting systems in video games. It's something I've been wanting to talk about for a little while now, and I figured I'd bring in my knowledgeable experts on crafting games. Is in Sneaky Zombie and Horse. And I wanted to get
professional.
I wanted to get those thoughts out. Yeah. So what is everybody's general take on crafting games or crafting systems in games? Because they don't even have to be games that are centered around crafting.
I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's 3 big categories of games. Just like games that don't include crafting at all,
Mm-hmm.
games that include crafting, and then crafting style games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like Long Dark has crafting in it, but I wouldn't call it a crafting game. It's a survival game with crafting, but
Mm-hmm.
you can't build a house, you know what I mean? You can't really do anything outside of like putting together recipes. So it's, it's
Mhm.
kind of, it's like very lightly. It's not quite as like detailed as like Craftopia or Minecraft.
Yeah.
Those are like Ugh.
Yeah, those games kind of have like crafting like as like the centerpiece of their game, right?
Mm.
Like they're
Like
like
Stardew.
yeah. Yeah, Stardew's like
Yeah.
another one, right? It's like got crafting in it, but it's not like the main bread and butter of the game necessarily either. That whole bread and butter of that game has like, oh, you're forming relationships, building crops and stuff like that, and then like expanding your farm
Mm.
is like
True.
kind of like this almost like a secondary. But it depends on
But
what your
you
priority
can't
is in
do
that game
it-
too.
Yeah. Well, you can't do anything to improve your farm without the crafting.
True.
Like the
Right,
crafting
so-
is like central to your farm's progression because you have to
Mhm.
craft your sprinklers and your,
Mhm.
things like that.
Very
So
true. Very true.
yeah, I mean, like it's not like Minecraft, right? Where like that's like it's not super zoomed in. But yeah, it's definitely going to be like, but it's definitely got a pretty heavy emphasis, I'd say.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it would be considered a crafting game because you can't really play the game without
Mhm.
crafting. Like you can't, and I say this very, very hesitantly, but you can't really beat Minecraft without crafting something along the way.
Yeah.
Like you probably could if you got really lucky and you found all of the like equipment and tools and things that you needed and
Mhm.
like never had to actually craft
Mhm.
something, but it's not like a
Mhm.
normal gameplay. Like that would be like a challenge level. Like
Right.
normal
Yeah.
gameplay, you
Oh,
can't make
that
it
would be a
without
fun
crafting.
one.
But like Dying Light or even Dishonored, like those are two games that have crafting, but
But
you
it's
don't
not required.
have to craft to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, what are some games that you really like that really stand out to you when it comes to a game that has a crafting system in it and something that you guys really like about like the game and like not and to I guess more of a degree like their crafting system? Because
Mm.
for me, something that stands out, as it's not a crafting game, but I think about it every so often because I think it's interesting. The Last of Us. The Last of Us has a very interest because it's not nowhere near involved as a crafting game at all. It's a survival horror game to a degree that's got an action narrative. But
Okay.
within it, you have the crafting system to be able to build your knives, like your different little tools little tricks that you can use to help you survive against the, for lack of a better comparison, zombie apocalypse,
Right.
So something like that is pretty unique and it's in and of itself. And like obviously you have Minecraft like as the big one. It's the probably what really got the craze of crafting in it, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Gosh, I mean, I'm a little late coming into Minecraft. You know what I mean? So a lot of Minecrafting was done in games like Stardew Valley. Mm, I guess I can't really include games like I hesitate to include games like City Skylines,
Mhm.
even though I feel like those are like pretty close in the tree of game genres to
Mhm.
crafting in the sense that you're building, they're more like simulations and stuff. I guess RimWorld would be a close one where
Mhm.
you're because I don't know, I guess there's a certain level of crafting that goes on within that. You have to have things modified into a different, have to refine things, so I guess there's that. Even though you're not doing it personally, at what point does it not become crafting? Does the player have to actively do it with their character, or can they command a townsperson to do it,
I think it's a broad like term,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because like Dishonored, you don't physically craft anything yourself. You say, hey, I'm going to go pay you and you're going to do it for me, craft what I want, and then give it to me.
Mhm.
But I'm
Mhm.
giving you money for it. So, like, I'm not ever crafting it, but I would still say that it's crafting in the game because it's a very specific, like, you have to have either the materials or the money. In this case, you have to
Right.
have the money in order to get them to craft it for you.
And it takes
So
time
it's
for them
kind
to
of like
make
a
it, right?
shop,
It's not
but
like
it is
instantly.
No, it's instant.
it's instantly,
Okay.
but like if you want upgrades to certain things, you have to do the things to get the blueprints first. Or
Mm.
like in Dying Light, you have to find blueprints before you can just use things. Like they give you the basics, like you can always craft medkits, lockpicks,
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
some very, very like rudimentary stuff like Molotovs, because it's just stuffing a cloth in a bottle of alcohol. But like if you want any of the cool weapons, you have to go find the blueprint first.
Right.
And then you can craft it at any time. You just have to have all of the stuff to do it. So that's another one that's like, it's crafting. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's a crafting game. I'd say it's a survival game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think crafting is integral to it because like you can just use the weapons you pick up, but they're usually not super great.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would
That's
be your, if you had to pick like maybe 3 games to be like, these are my favorite games that have crafting in it, to whatever degree you define yourself as crafting, what would they be? And what about them and those particular systems do you like?
I think specifically for like crafting style, it would
Mhm.
be Minecraft because it's like my OG. It's the thing that got me started in most video gaming at all. Dying Light and then Subnautica. I actually really like the crafting
Ooh.
systems in
Mm.
Subnautica.
True.
Nice.
True. I mean, Minecraft, obviously. I think that's a pretty safe. I don't know. I guess maybe Minecraft and Craftopia would kind of share because they're so similar in a lot of ways to me.
Mhm.
And maybe
Yeah.
that's just because I came into Minecraft so late that I just get to see it all nice and polished and stuff. But like, I feel like looking back on the games that involved crafting that I played beforehand, I guess I would say, I mean, Raft is a really good one, but then yeah, I don't know. I mean, Stardew Valley was really good. I guess maybe Dishonored has crafting in it.
Mhm.
And it's a game that I was obsessed with for a really long time. So I think maybe I'll just include that one because
Okay.
the crafting aspect isn't like super robust, but it's it's enough for what the game needs, and I think that's and considering there isn't any sort of like, if you want anything, like if you want the really cool outfits and stuff, you have to like go out
Mhm.
and kill the bears in order to make the bear jacket, and you have to like
Mhm.
find cloth to repair the clothes you find. So I would say that one, they did a really good, and it's all time based too. So you have to like, and light based. You can't
Mm.
do things in the dark.
Mhm.
So once the sun sets, it's like you'll like be like, can I make this one last like repair before the game decides that I can't see anymore, and like you're trying
Yeah.
to use every little bit. So I don't know. I think, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I think if I had to pick a couple like off the top of my head, obviously Minecraft is one that is like the first one that comes to mind. It's like this staple and
Mhm.
probably the one that popularized crafting systems in video games to begin with. But if I had to think of other ones, Animal Crossing is one, especially New Horizons. Specifically, New Horizons has a crafting system in it, and that one's pretty fun. It has its flaws, and we'll get to that, but it's definitely in one of my favorites. Obviously, like Tink is naming ones in our Twitch chat right now, and I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, these are ones that
Of course.
I love because
Mhm.
one, the reason why she also probably really likes them is because we played them together and I introduced her to these games because I loved them so much. Like Dragon Quest Builders 2, obviously it's a Minecraft clone, but like because it has furniture and like villagers, you can set them up to basically build things for you if you have like blueprints for them, and they do tasks on
Yeah.
their own. That's really cool because they'll like set up everything for you basically so you can do stuff. And then one other one that I just remembered about, and it's probably the first game that I actually had crafting in it that I played. It's called
Mhm.
Fantasy Life. It's on the 3DS,
Oh.
and it's an RPG based around different jobs. So you can go through and change like your life, and you could have different types of lives, and those skills will carry over when you change like your career. So you could be an angler, a blacksmith, a tailor, carpenter, miner, cook,
Okay.
like anything to that facet. And then you could do like regular RPG classes as well, like mercenary, and stuff like that. Do like ranger, wizard, like different things like that. It's very interesting because there is an overarching plot and you can do that overarching plot, but you'll spend more time doing these little mini games to build yourself new equipment. Like, oh, I want to build like this set of armor, but realistically to get this set of armor, I need to take this job in like carpentry and mining so I can actually get the materials that I need, so I can go get those materials that I need to then give myself the armor that I need or the weapons that I need to then go and then fight more baddies that are stronger if I want to fight stronger baddies. And it's very interconnected and it's kind of cool in that way. And all the characters are really quirky and unique. It's a level 5 game. So if anybody likes level 5 and the games that they do, like Ni no Kuni was made by level 5, it feels very much like that aesthetic, and they all have this really like cutesy little charm to it. So that one's definitely one on that on my list as well. So I guess like then it's like, if these are the things that we like about them, right? Like what, like we've listed a couple things that we like about these games. What are the problems with these games and some of these crafting games that we have that we'd like to see improved? Jess?
Organization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so like
that's one.
Organization. Honestly, having like constant recipe books. So like Minecraft now has a recipe book. You can click on it, you can look through all the things, and you could say, oh, I didn't know that I had to have 3 iron blocks to build an anvil. There we go. When Minecraft started, that didn't exist. It was impossible to do anything because you'd be like, I understand that I need these things, but what order do they go? Like, how do I put these together in a 9x9 grid to make it make sense? And some of the things, you know, make sense. Pants, you look like a pair of pants. A helmet looks like a helmet. But like the difference between a boat and a bowl was like, you'd be like going really quickly trying to make a boat and you'd make a bowl and you'd be like, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Why is that a thing? So I think that Minecraft has gotten better about that. But the organization of that book is still not good.
Yeah. It's like they kind of have like a very base level organization, like where they keep the type of material like for building blocks and stuff together. But like once you get into the intricacies of certain things, it's like some things are not put together where they need to be. And
it only gets wilder once you start modding Minecraft, because once you start modding Minecraft, there is a mod, it's called the JEI mod, and it lets you, like, it's just an index of but it's every single thing possible throughout the entire game. And you can like type and search it, but if you don't know the name of something,
that's it, you're
like
done.
Specifically you're done. So if you were like, I need to make the blacksmith thing that would let me put the enchant, like, what is that thing called? You can't find it. You can't sit there and just click through because there's hundreds of pages of these crafting things, and you're like, I'm never gonna find what I want.
And
so
it's not like broken up into category either.
No, it is all just in there. And so, yeah, organization, but recipe books that are organized and make sense would be so helpful. Especially like if it's not something I have to access exclusively at a crafting table or a crafting station.
Right.
If I'm in the wild and I need to know if I need 12 or 22 of this item to make it, I would like to be able to look that up and not have to go all the way home. Look it up and then be like, I am too short.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's the worst.
No, I feel that. Sneaky, how about you?
Honestly, for me, it's just lots of issues with organization and stacking. There's items that I'm like, why does this item stack and this item does not stack? That's ridiculous. This should not matter. Like you've already like thrown out the window this idea of anything making sense. Like you can have 99 pieces of iron in your pocket, but you can't have more than one
full bucket of water
forge or whatever at a time. Like there's just things that don't just don't stack, and I'm just like, this is silly. And then one thing that I dislike is convenient organization systems.
Yes.
Be that through a tab, a button that you click, and it organizes based on some sort of in-game logic. I don't care what the logic is. I really
Yeah.
don't. I just
As
care
long
that
as it's
everything
logical.
is everything is all in a line and I can see it, like things are with like things and I don't have to do that. In
Yep.
Craftopia, it's just the middle mouse click. And that's just genius. I was like, why is this just not the standard? Just middle mouse click and everything's just,
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd say that like that's my biggest, I guess, frustration. It's so hard because each game handles crafting differently. So
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to like pick out exactly one thing, or
Mhm.
not exactly, but but yeah, I'd say that'd be my number one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that organization, a recipe book are both very uh good things that would like they would definitely make sure that the game is improved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of leading into my next like point is like what we think should be like universally within a crafting game. And I think that's kind of what we're getting at already.
Mm-hmm.
I think there should always be a way of sorting stuff like automatically. Like Dragon Quest Builders, when you're in your inventory, just goes bloop and it's all there. Another thing
Yeah.
that I really like that it does, and is it doesn't matter where you have materials stored. If you have them collected, period, whether they're stored in a chest in your pocket or whatever, you can build whatever it is that you wanted to build as long as it's within your
Yes.
inventory.
I like
That's
that.
nice.
And that, because that's the biggest pain in the neck where you're like, oh, now I have to go sifting through all like my chests to find like this specific thing, especially like in Minecraft. And if you're really bad at keeping things organized in Minecraft, because it's a nightmare to keep it organized there,
Mm-hmm.
having the ability to just go up to the crafting table and be like, oh, I want to make this. And it's just going to pull out and it'll know where your thing is automatically. You might not be able to find it if you wanted to put it somewhere, but the game will be able to tell you that you have that piece. And that's
Mhm.
really nice.
Mhm.
So I think that's something that should be there. And then universally as well, because Animal Crossing does not do this. And it makes me very upset that it does not do this. You should be able to build as much of something as you want to if you have the materials required for it and not be forced to build things one at a time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There should
the
be
Animal
a
Crossing
number to, and there's that also, but with that same token, there should be a max button as well. So if you wanted to build the maximum number of something within the game that you have available in your inventory, you should be able to build the maximum amount. And that's super nice.
Can I also give it?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I don't want to interrupt
No,
you.
go
You
right
finish
ahead.
your thought.
No,
Okay,
that
I
I
just
think I
wanted
was
to give a
done.
shout out to a crafting game I think we all might love.
Mhm.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
How have we
Yeah.
left Skyrim out in this entire conversation?
I think because
I do not think
like,
of it as a crafting game or
I
a
don't
game
thi-
that
I
has
think of it a
crafting at
game-
it
like,
really
I
at
think
all.
of it as a game with crafting.
Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned it, I'm like, of course.
There's so
duh.
much you can do.
But I
in
feel
Skyrim
like
that crafting essentially. I mean, you craft your weapons, you craft,
Yeah.
your
enchant them too.
food and
Yeah.
enchant them, your.
You're right.
I mean,
You're absolutely right.
yeah, I mean,
you even build a
1,000%.
house.
Yeah.
I think
Can you
think
actually
Skyrim,
build a house?
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think, yeah.
I think
Or do
well,
you just buy houses and then decorate them?
actually, I really don't remember, to be honest.
Okay, but
I've never gotten that
even if
far.
you just have to buy and decorate, like that's still at some
Mhm.
point crafting, right? Like
Yeah.
But
It's
I
still-
think
yeah.
Skyrim is a game that is just so freaking big
Mhm.
that like you can spend 100 hours and never do a mainline quest.
It's true.
Never do anything in the main story.
It's true. And you could
Yeah.
get through like never crafting, honestly. Like you
Yeah.
could just do,
Mhm.
like sometimes I would just start somewhere and I would just have like, those mods that have you drop you off in just like a random spot, and I would just run to the highest level place I could find and just grab myself some high level gear real quick, and I'd just be like, all right, let's go. Like I'm set up, because it's like all right there. You're just
Already
gonna
there.
find the coolest stuff that you can. So
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah,
suit
but
up.
it
Anyway,
does
yeah.
it does have crafting, and it has. I don't remember its crafting. It has been so long.
It's
since I've
like,
played Skyrim.
it was pretty good. One of the things, if I'm sorry, I don't know how much time we have, but
No, go
one
on
thing
ahead. We'll go as long as we need to.
was the potions crafting. was super fun because you discovered it naturally just by
Mhm.
eating, the ingredients. But once something was discovered, it was suddenly like kept. You know what I mean? You could, you could like kind of do like mental math to kind of figure out, since so many items can be used to make a health potion, you don't
Mhm.
need specific ones. You just can just have like a variety of, I don't know. Something about that was just really fun, and it just made me think of Jess's thoughts on the recipe book.
Mhm.
So having it there already unlocked for you is just kind of nice, but
I think it's really cool when a game is like, we'll unlock the recipe after you found something in the recipe. So like
mm,
Valheim does that, which is like the new game, right? That
Yeah.
everybody's super into.
Mhm.
Valheim does that. It says, "Oh, you found leather. Now with the leather you can make a bow." Like you didn't know that
Mhm.
before, but now that I have like touched it and I know it, I know that
Mhm.
recipe.
Yeah.
And it's like unlocked,
Yeah.
which is really interesting because it at that point then it's I have to touch everything because I need to know if it's important. And
Mhm.
it's not given to you right out the gate where it's like, oh, well, I'm only ever going to use that if I do this one really specific thing, so I'm not going to even worry. It's like, well, but what if I need that for something else? Which I think is also something that like crafting games can do really interestingly, is add some air of mystery until you've discovered it.
Right. I think that's
I
pretty cool.
agree.
Once I know how to make a bow, once I have crafted a bow, I should not have to go fight to find where that recipe was again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like a
Like I've
certain level of
already done
difficulty
it.
leading up to it, but once you've achieved
Yeah.
it, please make it as easy as possible.
Please,
Like,
please let me remember that because I have the
yeah.
memory of a goldfish.
Yeah, I mean it's a
I'm
matter
not gonna
of
remember.
what is it? It's
Yeah.
it's I use this term all the time and I always forget what it is now that I have to remember it. It's ease of access or ease of life, quality of life. That's what it is.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
these little quality of life things that need to be
Mhm.
considered that I think should be defaulted in a lot of these crafting games because it'll be the make or break of the system and whether or not you enjoy doing it. Like
True.
like when I'm playing Animal Crossing, I'm like, ugh, I gotta make another fishing rod. I want to build like 10 of them so I don't have to worry about it breaking again. But if I want to make 10 of them, I have to sit there and keep pressing A and mash A for like 10 minutes while it goes through the whole process. And it's not fun.
Ooh.
At that point, it's not fun. I just want to be able to be like, okay, this is what I want. Toggle over to 10 and then press it once and then it does 10 with one animation. Because
Yeah.
if I have to sit through building animation, I'd rather only have to sit through the building animation once as opposed to 10 individual times or
Or
more.
Yeah.
I would say, or even like Craftopia, where it only makes
Mhm.
them one. It takes the same amount of time to build one, no matter how many you say you want to make. So if you want to make 10, it'll take 1 times 10 amount of times. But as soon as one is done, you can pick it up.
Yes.
What I
Yeah.
don't like is not being able to cancel something, which
Yes.
Oh,
is
yeah.
something that needs like that now I feel like
It's so
needs to be
funny.
improved going back to it.
So it's so funny. The points that we're making about some stuff, I'm realizing more and more. I'm like, these features like are in Dragon Quest Builders too. Like a lot of them. Like it has a lot of really nice quality of life mechanics for their building and crafting system.
Mhm.
There are a lot of like shortcomings with the game just overall because like they're just minor gripes, but I think they nailed their crafting system in that game. Because it does have like that timer system, right? But you can cancel it if you want. You can be like, oh, I didn't want to make that. You can just cancel it outright. And if worse comes to worse, you can just break the thing and then your crafting will stop and you'll get the materials back. And it works out great. So there's things like that in that game.
That's
But I
true.
think it should be a universal like thing as well. If you're gonna have like a whole crafting animation or loop for something that's like in a blacksmith or in a like a furnace or whatever, you should be able to be
Mhm.
like, no, 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 no,
Let
no, I
me
don't want
cancel
that.
it.
Yeah,
Wait, it
Or
came from
and
or
then
me.
not
you've done
waste the
the thing,
resource.
right? Or you've
Yeah.
done the thing where you've put that you want to make like 20 of them.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And then you're sitting there and you're like, this is taking so much longer than I thought it was going to. I want to move on, but I can't because I need these things and I need
Yep.
this material, but I can't just leave it because I'm getting ready to like leave this island or I'm leaving this area entirely.
It should
I'm packing up
continue.
all of my stuff, but I have to sit here and just wait through 20 of these because I thought it would go really quickly and it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be nice to have like little like
Uh.
pocket furnaces, like be like, oh yeah, I can do it on the go, like, and it continues from where I left off. Like, if I gotta leave, like in that
And
particular
so
game.
I think that as far as crafting goes, that's something that Minecraft, I mean, obviously does really well, is that like you have in your inventory, you have a 2x2. So if there's
Mhm.
anything that you can make just on the go with a 2x2, you
Mhm.
can do it in your inventory. If not, you have to
Mhm.
put down a crafting table,
That's something I
which
really like of Minecraft a lot.
is
Yeah.
really interesting because
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I can make torches, I can make sticks, I can make a crafting table, but if I want to make like a furnace or a chest or something bigger or more important, I need to put down my crafting table to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because then it's like, well, I don't want to break out my crafting table to make torches.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like it's pretty nice too because it's a failsafe, right? In those kind of games, like it's a failsafe. Like if you die and are unable to get back to, and for whatever reason your spawn broke and you can't get back to where you need to be, like, and you basically have to start from scratch again. You can start from scratch again without a problem as long as there are trees around. You can just punch your way into the beginning. And Craftopia has like the like in inventory crafting too. Like it's
Mhm.
you can do a lot less, but you can get yourself started again. And I think that's got to
And
be
I
something
think
baseline.
I was pointing more towards like Subnautica because in
Oh, okay.
Subnautica you can't craft unless you're at a
Mhm.
crafting station that has power.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like
Gosh, it's been so long, but yeah, I remember
I've never
that.
So,
touched
like,
it, so I'm
if
curious about
you-
this.
if you build a base, because
Mhm.
there's base building, it's a lot of fun, it's super great. You
Love
have
base
to have
building.
power. You have to have power to operate oxygen machines in
Mm.
your building. So your buildings have oxygen, but you also have to have power to craft things because you have to power the crafting station.
Mhm.
First time I played the game, I like built a super cool base, right? And I put like solar panels up. And then it was night. And I was like, I am dying of thirst. And the only way I can get water is through my crafting machine, but I can't do anything because there's no sun, therefore there's no power.
Yikes.
And then my building went down. I had no power for oxygen. So I was like, I can't stay in my building because I'm gonna suffocate. And I'm gonna die of thirst. So I'm like sitting there above my base, swimming in the pitch black ocean. And like, I hate the ocean. I don't know why I thought
That
Subnautica
game is
would be
so
a fun
freaking
game
terrifying.
because I am terrified of the ocean. But I'm like just treading water above my base in the inky black ocean, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm dying here.
Gosh.
And it was so hard to like start over.
Oh, that's gotta be the worst.
Oh yeah, it's
So
it's
something
less
else that was just brought
forgiving.
up to my attention about Dragon Quest Builders that I also was thinking should be a universal was that basic items, basic materials become unlimited. You unlock them and they become unlimited. How many times have you ever been like, man, I need to get more wood? How many times have you
I
been like,
hate
oh, I
that.
need to get more stone. I need to get sand. I need to get this,
Every-
that.
Every crafting game ever decided that wood was going to be just the most valuable item that you needed.
Yeah.
And it's just annoying to get.
Mhm.
In Dragon Quest Builders, they do a great thing where after each chapter, you get to go to these little bit of explorer islands, and you get basically, I think it's 2 after every chapter of the game. You go there, you do like basically put into like a little catalog that you've seen every piece of material that's on the island, and you unlocked an unlimited version of one resource that like is listed on that island. So on the first, you get like unlimited wood, which is the best, because then you can just, anything that requires wood, you don't need to go gather more wood, you don't need to chop down more trees or anything, you just have it. It's just infinitely in your inventory and infinitely in your system, because it's required for a lot of recipes. So I think something like that, like having a system like that where eventually you can unlock a system where you're just going to have infinite wood or infinite of a basic material that you're going to need for every single recipe, no matter what, or very common recipes. would be very nice. Because like if I was able to play Minecraft, right, and I didn't have to mine a single piece of cobblestone to make a furnace, or if I never had to like mine out, if I could get an infinite iron, right, like once I get to iron tools, I don't ever have to revert back to wood tools or stone tools again. That would be amazing. If after I reach a certain point, because I just have all that resource infinitely.
Man, if Minecraft and Minecraft modders have taken all of the complaints that people have had about how Minecraft plays, how vanilla Minecraft plays, and have made a better hack for it. Like in Minecraft, one of the worst things is cutting down trees, because you can't just cut down the base and the whole tree falls over. You have to mine the entire tree. However, there's a lot of Minecraft mods where like you destroy the bottom block, the whole tree falls over and gives you the same amount of wood. It gives you sticks, it gives you saplings, sometimes apples, whatever fruit was on the tree. That is so nice. Like that makes me not hate going and gathering wood for Minecraft, because I don't have to mine 12 blocks of wood. I can just mine one. Granted, when you do that, it takes the time, like it takes longer. So they made it to where it's not the same time as if you're mining a single block. It is longer, but it mines the whole tree.
Yeah.
So like even just getting materials like wood or cobblestone and things like that is time. I think the biggest thing is time consuming.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like a respect for the player's time too. Like, and especially like in today, like, yeah, if you're a kid, like, and obviously that's what these games are targeted towards, right? They're targeted towards kids normally. And they have a lot of time, but they also have a lot of responsibilities, going to school, doing homework, having to do chores, having to do whatever extracurricular activities they need to do. And as they get older, they get jobs. As an adult, they have full-time jobs, responsibilities when they get home, chores, things they have to pay for, potentially kids of their own to take care of. Like, so it's a matter of respect for the player's time that I think it becomes like these games are great because they're so much fun, but when it becomes I have to do like a 5-hour grind session for this one material so that I don't have to get it again. Like that kind of kills some of the enjoyment out of it. Cause yeah, I could zone out, listen to like podcasts like the One Up Station podcast, which you should definitely be listening to at all times. Or like, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like there's definitely a better way to do it. And I think that adding something like, hey, here's an infinite piece of your little bit of material, like this very minuscule material, like, in Animal Crossing, like you have to get sticks all the time in order to make fishing rods. Sticks are easy to get. You shake trees and eventually they'll fall out. But when you have such a limited inventory, kind of sucks that you have to take up one of your slots to have, or like 5-year slots to carry 30 sticks or 3 sets of 30. If you have such little inventory space at home, and then you have to pull that out of your home and into your pocket to then go to a crafting table, it just becomes daunting. So if you added something that was more like, you unlock, here's like a little Nook's Cranny is now selling you like a little card that ends up giving you unlimited access to wood wherever you want, or unlimited access to sticks, like, and things like that, like the basic needs that you need to make building and crafting to take the grind out of crafting. Because I think that's the biggest fallback to crafting games is the grind it takes to start crafting. At least eventually. At first it's fun because you're like, ooh, it's giddy and new and exciting. But as you're like 10 hours, 20 hours in, it gets like, ugh.
And I think some games have the grind a lot less, right? Like Minecraft. Once you get past wood tools and like building your house or whatever you want to build with wood, the only thing you need wood for is sticks all the time.
Yeah.
But
to make torches,
1 block of wood makes 4 planks, which makes 8 sticks. So now you have 8 sticks because you mine 1 block of wood. So the grind is like a little bit different in that game compared to like other games where it's like, oh, you need 40 wood to build this thing that like doesn't even look like it has wood in it, but you need 40 wood for it.
Yep.
And the method to get it is like really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, but those are just like some of the things that I'm like, yeah, these should be in all crafting games or games that have crafting. It would just make life so much
Yeah.
easier, so much more fun, so much more accessible, and it'd just make the game, I feel like, pace better a little bit from time to time. And it all depends on the game that you're playing too. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was games that don't have crafting systems or very minimal crafting systems that you think could benefit or be improved upon by implementing crafting of some kind. And I kind of want to take a little bit of a lead here because I got two that I think would be really cool. And they both have the possibility of coming into the next games that are coming out. That's Pokemon and The Legend of Zelda. Pokemon is one specifically that I'm like, this game should have a crafting system that I can like do stuff in, because they have like little benchmarks where I can like go make specific Pokeballs or whatever, or I go to the mart and buy Pokeballs. But how cool would it be if you're out like in the wilderness and you have a bunch of like this specific thing and you're like, man, I'm running out of Pokeballs. I don't have, town is like all the way that way and I don't want to go to run to town. What if I just built my Pokeballs? Like I could build my Pokeballs, like brew my own potions so that I can help heal my Pokemon better with the berries that I collect and gather, rather than just giving them berries or store buying everything. I'm running low on money, so I can buy like these things that are like in the shop that I need to get, or buy clothes that I want to get. Oh, I could just craft these things and then sell them off and then go gather more materials later. Like I think that would be really cool and it would give something more to do and make it like kind of expand like the world a little bit. Which I feel like in Pokemon Legends we might see something like that, because the Pokeballs, they kind of like explicitly are like, these are made out of wood, and it's supposed to be like an action adventure overworld like sort of RPG game. So I'd be like, yo, this would be tight. Like I kind of want to be able to build Pokeballs like on the go. Like if I'm like in like a feudal like non-civilized world of Pokemon, like if I could go grab like these bits of material, craft the Pokeball, and then throw them at monsters to just catch them, I think that'd be pretty tight. And then with Legend of Zelda, there is like bits of crafting in there with like the cooking mechanics and like potion brewing and stuff like that. And they do have a little bit of like a house building thing, but it's very minuscule. Like the house is already pre-built. You just have to hand over materials to a dude and they'll expand the house. And then you can decorate like certain things in it by placing like different weapons and armors up, but that's really about it. But I would like to be able to build like, because they have weapon durability in the game, and it's like, it's not bad, but I think the biggest flaw with it is that you can't just like craft up your weapons again, or different types of weapons that you've had already. So how neat would it be? It's like, oh, I've got this really awesome sword I like. If I gathered the materials for it, I could just make it. Like, instead of being like, okay, now I have to wait for it to respawn, or I have to find another enemy that has it and take it from them. I think it'd be much more interesting, and I think it would make it cooler for a Breath of the Wild style, like a survival of off land, if you learned how to make your own tools.
Even if it was like, oh, now you have to like get it the first time.
Yep.
Now you've seen it. Now you know how to make it. There are games that like they do that and then they say, okay, now you know how to make it, but you make a lesser version. Like it's not as powerful. So the best weapons are still the ones that you go out and you find. But this one works. Like it's a fine weapon.
Yeah. And you could make it better potentially with like an alchemy or an enchanting table of some kind. Like if you went and did stuff like that. So it'd still work to get it really good. But it's the difference between like picking up a tree branch that I found on the ground and having like a sword on me at all times.
Right. Because like once I've gotten past tree branches, I don't want
I should never go back.
Tree branches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be cool to be like, oh, well, this sword, like a sword, if you find it on a person, does like 10 damage.
Right.
Like per hit. But like I can craft one that does 8. Yeah. Like that's still really good. Like that's still a lot better. It's not as good as if I would have gone and found it, but like it's better than a stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would like to see more crafting. One of the things that kind of got me tired of the Long Dark was the lack of an expanded crafting system. You are surviving in the wild, and the survival mode has no end in sight. So it's really sad when, players are kind of stuck at a certain point. They've figured out how to, get what they need, how to maximize, their efforts, right? But they have to like huddle in a cave. You know what I mean? Like it's very it's like hard to believe that there isn't, at least seasons or just, things that you could do like crafting a sled to help you carry heavy items, like maybe you could move corpses or like animal carcasses, with a sled that you could easily craft from the stuff around you, There's just times where I'm just like, you literally have trees. You have a hatchet. How
Yeah.
can you not start building? Like this is possible. You can do it. You don't have to like make
Yeah.
it super unrealistic. But
Yeah.
gosh, deep in my heart, I really want the Long Dark to have just like a little bit more base building, a little bit more like cooking. The cooking is like almost non-existent. It's more like heating things up or like cooking meat. It's not like you can't make soup. And I'm like, how is it that they don't have soup? I don't know. Don't get me started on the Long Dark. I love the Long Dark. It holds a special place in my heart, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, give me more crafting.
Yeah. But in the same token, I think there are games that would be ruined. Like the balance would be ruined if you could craft stuff.
Right.
Like
oh, true. Yeah.
That is the other side of that coin, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
what for example, do you have anything like in mind?
Like Sea of Thieves, because the whole thing is
Ooh.
resource managing. Like I
Mm.
have wood planks and I have cannonballs and I have these things, but like if I could just like craft cannonballs, it would make naval battles so much less intense. Because those like long naval battles that you get into in Sea of Thieves, it stops becoming about who's a better shot, who can do it. It all becomes about who can manage their resources, who can manage the wood they have, the amount of shots they're getting hit with, and like who can strategically put themselves in the place to
Mhm.
not get hit
Mhm.
because nobody has any wood, nobody has food. Like and food, you can go fishing in Sea of
Mhm.
Thieves. So you
Right.
can like fish, but you can't fish in the middle of a battle. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
get knocked off, you're gonna get like thrown off. It takes time to do it, and then you have to go cook the fish, which takes forever. But like games that are all about like resource managing in a sense of like strategy, I think would get ruined, or the balance would be ruined.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
in that case, like no one's ever gonna run out of cannonballs, or no one's ever
Yeah,
gonna
and
run
they'll
out of
fight
wood
every
planks.
single person that they see because they
And they'll
have an
fight
infinite supply of it.
and they'll fight everyone, because a lot of Sea of Thieves is going, okay, I can take on this ship, and then you take them on, and then it's a long drawn out battle, and then you get done with it and you're like, we just need to get to an outpost, we need to restock, we have nothing left, and then
Yeah.
you see a ship and you're like, we have to find a way to run
Yeah, yeah.
to avoid them. Like we have no option, because even though like I might be a really great player, if I have no resources, I am at the whim of getting hit once and then not being able to patch my boat.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I think in that case, like having the ability to craft things like that would just like almost ruin the experience of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have to be if they did, they would have to be balanced with requiring the time. Like, yeah, you have to go and find the ore and then go find somebody to smelt it for you. Like you can't do it on the ship, Like it would have to be as
Yeah.
laborious as fishing sounds and like
Yeah.
but even still, like I could see that. I could see that for Long Dark too, but
Yeah, I
Well,
feel
and
like
like
it depends though too, and like what it is that's available to be crafted too.
right.
Like,
yeah.
because at least most of there's a lot of stuff in Sea of Thieves that's just actually most everything in Sea of Thieves is cosmetic.
Yeah, everything.
Oh.
So all of the different types of guns, different types of clothing, and different types of swords, they look cool,
Mm-hmm.
but if I'm wearing something that's like super high level like armor, I have a super high level gun, it doesn't do anything different than the starter equipment. They made it to where literally the only thing that matters in that game is your skill.
Mm-hmm.
Like my day one blunderbuss is exactly the same as the Pirate Legend Athena blunderbuss that you get after getting level 50 in every like category. Like it doesn't matter. It's the same gun. It has the same firepower. It has the same range. It's just a matter of how you use it and how you know, and if you know how to use it.
Right.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think
haven't
that has
played.
a lot to say about like what types of games, right, would thrive with a crafting system and what ones wouldn't. I'd say Sea of Thieves is less of an RPG, right? I would say it's more of a like action game or like an adventure game sort
Mm-hmm.
of. Whereas most of the games that currently have crafting systems within them are survival games and RPGs.
Right. I think, and maybe it's because Dishonored is always like the way it was. It's always held like a place in my heart. It was my favorite game for so long. But I think if you changed the way crafting worked in Dishonored, it would like not be as fun. If I was able to just like craft health potions or like the mana potions, for lack of what the name actually is.
Right.
If I was able to like craft those things just whenever I wanted, like I no longer have a fear of getting shot, of getting discovered, of getting.
Mhm.
If I can just craft cross bolts or like pistol shells
Yeah.
or any of those things at any time, like I no longer have to conserve ammo. I no longer have to like find a way to sneak my way into something and attack with a sword instead. Like I can just shoot everything and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I mean, the counterbalance to having that would be like if you did have a like in that specific game would be to do like how The Last of Us does it, and they give you very minimal resources to actually make what it is that you need to make. Because I
Right.
believe, if I remember, because I only played through like half of maybe the first like chunk of The Last of Us, but like you can make these things that'll help you, yeah. But like if you use them, you have to really wait a long time before you can find more stuff for them. Especially if you're doing it on like a higher difficulty, right?
Mhm.
So like the resources become more finite, and more important as you progress. So I think that would be the counterbalance to be like, oh yeah, you can make health potions, but it requires like these things, and you have to find all of these things, and you have to make sure that you have enough of them, but there's not very many of them in your adventure through the game. Like if like, because I'm not sure, I don't know much about Dishonored, if anything about Dishonored. I don't know if it's like a linear game that you just kind of go through, or if it's like just like an
Yes.
adventure that like an open world sort of thing.
No, it's linear and it has like chapters. So you could, because
Okay.
in Dishonored, it's like, okay, you can find X number of paintings that are worth money. So I guess it could be like you could find X number of
Mhm.
like resources to be able to craft this health potion,
Yeah.
right? In this chapter. Because once you go past a chapter, like you don't get to go back to that chapter. Like you
And
can't
take your stuff with
Yeah.
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 So I can't like go back.
Grind up and then go back
You're
to the
grind up
essentially
and then go
starting an
forward.
alternate timeline when
Yeah.
you go
Yeah.
back. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't apply anymore. So
Yeah.
I think that would be the balance there.
Yeah.
And then making it so that there are specific points where you can make it. So like, oh, I have the materials, but I can't make it right now until I find the next, like wherever, like the next
Ooh,
crafting
if there
bench.
were crafting stations in like the outsider shrines, if
Mhm.
Yeah,
if
like,
they
or-
integrated it like that,
yeah.
and like you actually need the king's feather, the king's
Right,
sparrow
because
feathers
they
or
make
whatever,
you
and then
they make you
know.
gather a bunch of like material. Like you already
Mhm.
have to gather like, but it's just for money. So like I have to
Yeah.
gather like king's the king sparrow
Right.
feathers, or I have to gather like
Mhm.
like Tavinian ore, or like all these things. But if it
Yep.
was like, you have to go find, there's one on every level, that there's like not a blacksmith shop,
Oh,
but like a place where you can reshell gun, like your
Yeah, just a
pistol shells,
workshop,
or you
yeah.
can like there's one workshop and you have to like find that. I think that could make it balanced. I think they would have to work on it if they wanted to ever
Yeah.
do anything like that.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah, there's potential because crafting in games I feel like is becoming more popular as we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because more and more people want to be able to have like a customizable experience, and I think that's like the whole
Mhm.
gist of why a crafting system kind of exists. You make the things that you want to make that exist within the game. Like in Minecraft, you make your base how you want it to be with the things that are supplied to you. Dragon Quest, same thing. Animal Crossing, same thing. Subnautica, same thing. Like you got these systems in place to play how you want to play. And I think crafting in games can make it so that some of these things become more available to you. rather than just be like, it's up to the random chance of the game to let you have where it is, or these predetermined places where I know they're gonna be. And it kind of like will make it more of like a living experience. Like I think survival games, like any survival game, that's like an RPG or an adventure, will thrive or grow from having some level of a crafting system in it. Doesn't have to be as intricate or as in-depth as Minecraft. Doesn't have to be as bare bones as The Last of Us.
Yeah.
It can be like a little bit like thought out and well placed, and I think you'll have a good time with it. Especially if you have to use materials like later on to build a little bit of something and have some of these like different quality of life things that we discussed. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've have to really say on the topic. Does anybody else have anything they would like to add? Maybe bring up in conversation about?
Not real. Like, honestly, everything I have to say is stuff that I'm just like, you know what? Another episode.
Yeah. It's like I could gush up because I could talk about this all night long.
I could
like,
talk, and I feel like at this point, I'm gonna start derailing into other topics that really do just kind of deserve their own episode. I
think so.
like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to spoil other days.
I think as
I
far
know we
as like,
talked about this in the crafting video, but
yeah, I
Yeah.
think as far as like crafting specific,
yeah.
we've covered pretty much.
like all
I
the
mean,
little
everything I
nuances,
want
right?
to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. But
All
really,
of my
I think,
opinions have been said.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I mean, exactly. It's mostly just organization and quality of life for me, at least.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on, and thank you all out there for listening in and watching today's One Up After Dark. My name is Researcher Ryan. That's Sneaky Zombie, and over there is Horse. And you can find us over on Twitch. Currently, we're broadcasting again both to our YouTube and to our Twitch channels. So on YouTube, it should be 1-up station. And then you can also find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/1up station. No hyphen between 1 and up. And then our individual links, you can find us, you see on screen our handles. Jess isn't a streamer. She's just a lovely friend and one of the passengers who is a very dedicated fan for us and very good friend. So we always appreciate having her on. But yeah, please be sure to check us out in those places and all that good stuff. And appreciate y'all for coming in. And thank you guys again for joining me.
Anytime.
Anytime.
I loved it.
Yeah, I guess that's all. We've reached our destination, and everybody have yourselves a good night.
Good night.
Bye.